I've just had the weirdest travel day in the world. And it was weird. Not even bad, just strange. So yeah, here goes. So the first thing that happened is I got upgraded to first class on my second flight of the day, which was sick and I was pumped for. Little did I know that it was going to introduce me to some of the weirdest people that I've ever met in my entire life. So the first thing is that this woman comes on the plane yelling and screaming with a voice like Linda from Bob's Burgers, and she acted like Linda from Bob's Burgers too. She was like, oh my God, we're on our 46th honeymoon, whatever. When the flight attendant came around, taking drinks or whatever, she literally told this flight attendant her entire life story without the flight attendant asking anything. She went on for literally 15 minutes, and the flight attendant couldn't, get to anybody else because this woman was just, and it's so nice. And this bitch was loud. And then even after the flight attendant left, everything she said to her husband was like, how do I work the movie screen? How do I get it? What headphones do I use? The whole time. Not only that, but when she would touch the screen on the seat, she's sitting right behind me, by the way, she would, punch the screen, thinking that it wouldn't click. So the entire time I was like, and I don't know, I didn't want to piss her off, so I didn't say anything. Then at one point, she starts asking for a puke bag for 5 minutes. So she could have, in this 5 minutes, walked 10 steps over to the bathroom that was vacant and thrown up in there. But finally gets a puke bag and just starts puking everywhere. You don't know this about me. I cannot deal with throw up. It just triggers my gag reflex immediately if I smell it or hear it or see it. Just hate it. I can't deal with it. And I was sitting in my chair oh my God, I'm going to puke now. She threw up probably 20 times the entire flight. And I feel really bad for the woman, but not once did she go to the bathroom that was empty most of the flight because it was only for the first class cabin, which is only a few rows. So I was like, you're just going to throw up in the middle of everybody? Basically, the whole flight, she was just screaming in the cabin, just how do I get the volume to work? It's not up high enough. And everyone's sleeping, what? Me is when it gets good and really strange. So the guy next to me sits down and is talking on the phone really, really loudly as well in a very heavy, I don't even know what kind of accent, some kind of islander maybe, which is fine, whatever. We still get on the plane, except for then, even as it's taking off, he's talking really loudly and he has 2 phones going and I can't figure out if he's talking to himself or if there's someone on the phone or not because we're taking off, and he just keeps going like this for a while. And then he starts singing intermittently throughout the entire flight, loudly. Not actually singing loudly throughout the entire flight, every hour or so. He also has a copy of a Bible verses book with him, but he doesn't ever read it. He just opens it, looks down for a second, and then closes back up and kind of holds it. So I'm thinking it's a front. And this is where it gets super weird. So the woman comes up to us and is like, okay, there's option A and there's option B for food. I only have one more of option A. And she's coming up to both of us. And I turned to him to be like, would you like option A? Or do you care? Assuming that he's going to turn back to me and be like, oh, talk about it for a second. He just doesn't even look at me, completely blocks me out, looks straight at the flight attendant and goes, yeah, I'll have option A. What? There's one and there's 2 of us. For the record, I didn't even care which one I ate, but it was just the fact that he completely acted like I wasn't even there and was just well, this is the one I want, so I'm going to take it. And even the flight attendant was like, what? I'm sorry? Are you, what? Did you just say that? She actually apologized to me later when I had gotten up to go to the bathroom. She's like, can I get you anything else? I'm sorry you didn't get a choice. That was really, really weird and just really strange and not normal behavior between 2 people interacting. And then my favorite part of the whole thing is that he gets up to go to the bathroom and he's on the window seat. So I unplug my phone from the charger that I have in the screen in front of me so he can, walk through. So then he comes back from the bathroom, sits down in his seat, and you know what he does? He takes my iPhone cable, leaves it plugged into my TV, and plugs his phone in without saying anything, without looking at me, without, anything. Just plugs it in as if it was communicating. And I was so dumbfounded by this because, who does that? I don't know, I don't care where you're raised, who you're raised by, how old or how young you are. I think most people after the age of 18 know not to do that. That's just weird. And then later, like, my phone was almost dead, so I was like, hey, can I grab this? Like, I didn't say anything. I just let him, like, use it, because I was so weirded out. And he just looked at me like I had 3 heads or something for asking for my iPhone cable back. The entire experience was just, nothing that bad happened. It wasn't like it was a terrible day or anything like that. It was just very strange. Like, everything just felt a little bit off. And my favorite part about the whole thing is that in between my flights, because I had a connecting flight, I was in the Delta Lounge, and I was checking in, and there was another man checking in next to me who must have been like 50, 60 something years old, probably like 50s. And the woman asked how old I am, and I say 22, and I look like this. So she's like, and the guy next to me is like, you better ID her. And I was like, all right, what the fuck, buddy? Like, chill. I'm not even drinking anyway, so I don't care. But I was like, joking along. I was like, yeah, I know, I look 15. Here's my ID. And she's like, oh, no, it's okay, whatever. But then the guy, like, looks at me, and I'm like, you know, I made the joke, like, you know, it's okay. I know I look 15, whatever. And he's just like, yeah, but when you're 40, you're going to be hot. Like, just like that. Literally just like that. And me and the woman at the desk just turned to him and was like, why would you say that? Like, not even like, yeah, well, you'll look really good when you're older. Like, that's usually what people say. It's like, oh, when you're older, you'll look great. But this guy just goes, you're gonna look hot. Like, I literally looked at him, took my ID back, and just walked away to where I was going to sit. Oh, and one more thing I forgot, too, is on my first flight, I was putting my jacket on, like, when we stand up, like, after we, the plane lands and the doors open finally and whatever, and I'm putting my jacket on, and this guy all of a sudden just takes the other side of my jacket and is, like, helping me put it on, but it was super weird because, one, I didn't need help. It wasn't like I was struggling or anything like that, and two, it wasn't, like, gentlemanly. It was just kind of like, please take your hands off of my jacket. He was, like, an old dude, and you could see it on the face of, like, everyone, like, because we were all crowded in the aisle, like, looking at him, like, what are you doing? Because, like I said, once again, I look 15, so had a lot of weird run-ins with old men today, and I think I'm done for the day. I think I got my Japanese lesson very soon, and I'm going to try and forget that anything happened. I feel like I'm forgetting so many things that happened because it was all just, like, these little strange things all day. So if I think of any more, I'll share them with you. But all in all, today just felt strange. Just felt weird. Thanks for listening to me bitch and moan for however long that Instagram story was. And I'm sorry that it's actually really not that important or interesting, but had to get it all off my chest, so...